A concern of TLC is to concentrate on the issue of anger, which is Kody's anger problem, and how it discuss. Kody's anger is why all of his ex-wives have split, and in his effort, reclaim the narrative, and TLC works to get ratings. The ex-wives don't appear to be moved by his plans, and while producers hype up the drama and try to make as many people as get the wives to maybe, I don't know, try, so I could come back together with the family, I needed a means by which think that the producers of the series would like nothing more than a reunification of Kody controlling the women, trafficking them, and being the patriarch, after all, is what they gave me. It was transmitted through the network and received by TLC, and right now we are watching a show that has officially jumped the shark. Kody apologized for his mistake in Janelle, and in the sorry is an apology to Janelle, and the past and not protecting her, not is less than grinds, shielding her from some of the things that occurred relatively early on in their relationship, as opposed to her safe space, not having her back, effectively placing all of the blame on their early years about his struggle to cope with the two relationships with Meri and Janelle, and pointing the finger at Meri for being cruel to Janelle, taking new accountability, new responsibility, nothing, for the way he brought Janelle into the responsibility for keeping it a secret, the abandoning the family for weeks at a time, while he was out traveling and selling whatever he was selling, leaving the wives at home with nothing but a can of beans, inhabiting his landmass, knowing full well he can't afford them, and knowing full well he would never pay for them, having left his wives in a state for reasons of survival as he wasn't there. And for 15 years, we've watched them. Kody and Robyn are king and queen for everyone else. And while playing king and queen to all other players, Kody and Robyn made all others feel like they were always wrong. Few of your children, why are they asking? Why were they? They ask. They saw how things were in our family. They noticed how we are separate, was in Flagstaff. But that's the family group. That's the culture, not the individual relationships. They also noticed that Kody and I've been struggling for a long time. The kids were like, it looked like in Vegas that you and Dad weren't really close anymore. And in Vegas? Okay, that's why. Okay, the perception of the outside world. I worry. I do. To hell with them. I do not. I understand. And I feel the same. I'm not even going to. I feel the same way. But I do worry. That's why I don't want anyone to underestimate the sacrifice that Meri's made. I don't. I want anyone saying Robyn's been, want anyone promoted or whatever, that is my biggest worry. Or that Kody and Robyn put it on me. Like somehow or another I've abandoned. You told me to leave. Kody, you know why. The carrot is very enticing. That this is why we need to go talk to Nancy, because I don't know why. I'm not sitting here rehearsing a line or saying a phrase I've practiced before. Married man deserves a midlife crisis, right? Now, 'cause her daughters left the nest. We deceived each other about what our relationship was. The damage was done so badly that we are not going to reconcile no matter what. And so, however, we were made accountable to God. I do not want to be accountable to this church and all their BS. So, I'm going to let Meri go and do her thing, because if I am angry at her, it becomes a fight. I needed her just in order for it to go away, because it just took forever. In a way difficult for her to finally realize. The element with Kody and Robyn is that we've watched for 15 years and is greater than this. Seen what happened. We saw what happened when Robyn was forced the divorce. When Robyn and Kody pushed for a divorce, came up with some harebrained idea that it was all about the kids, manipulating Meri, causing it to say that it was her idea when it was not. Abandonment of Meri after the prostate. Divorce happens with the promise of going to change, and it did. When is used after linking words such as people like Janelle raised concerns about it changing things, or that knowing the viewers would be looking like Robyn was going on promotion, that because she had more control and power. I mean, Janelle herself raised concerns. This about Robyn not being fair financially, and proved to be true. We watched Kody and Robyn string Meri along for 8 years, making her think that if she just hung on a little bit more and just did just a little bit more, would get better. We saw Kody say terrible things about Meri, that he didn't consider himself married to her. They were like exes living on the same block, Hubbard said. He does not have a relationship with her. We witnessed him yell at and beat her, Janelle, for several years for disrespecting his authority. We saw him declare that he was never a leader in the family. And then Robyn would be like, Kody is our leader. We saw how Robyn destroyed all with the other women and get on Kody's side. Always, and kiss his butt to the point where Kody thought he was the king. And we watched him abandon the family. As we observed the family, relations seemed to cheating. The kids barely knew him, right? So the apology tour is truly just about Kody's attempts to erase all of that and say that did not happen and likely to get. Before this, well, Janelle will go to the church to get a release because losing one wife is bad enough. But if you're losing two, you're a failure at that point. There's no way that Kody can return to his church despite his claim. He doesn't believe. Kody and Robyn recourse to the same cult praise points, and both Kody and Robyn still speak in standard English, a dialect presumably. Mormon or fundamentalist Mormon. I do not think that they don't believe in what I believe either. I believe that's what they're telling the public. And I believe the repentance for Kody was to get ahead of what he knew about himself. There are 2 modes of self was coming. The release from Janelle, another failure, a tell-all book by Christine, and then knowing Christine was writing a tell-all book attempting to get them all bound into NDAs so that they could talk about him anymore. Thus, his apology towards Janelle and me was not effective, I wanted to show you a clip coming up from this week. I don't know how long it will take to achieve all of that. Normally takes. I don't think that they had any intention of granting the release on that day. I felt as though they desired to communicate with Kody, which I could see that it was not going that way, and I started asking questions, and he finally, you know what? You're here, he did say, though. We're here. Let's just do it. The release experience that these women are getting is vastly different than a two-way interaction. Release experience of the women who are, this seems like it should, the church and the cult. However, in order to be more precise in distinguishing between the clear, I believe the reason why they're making these releases so shortly is because of the optics and the spotlight that would be upon them. Presidents, it places the burden on the AUB, and if the AUB would be to refuse these releases and were not to allow them to move forward, it would seem as if they are compelling these women to remain in unhappy marriages and left by their husbands simply because they can, and to nothing but accept it, and you have to be celibate. This would make the AUB appear terrible publicly. This is as much PR as it is marketing, even for the church to do this as it is for Meri and Janelle. The church in this community, when it comes to the women that are in the cult, they won't release easily at all of it. Dave Watson, who is a prophet of the church, has a wife that is currently suing him, that has sought a release from him for years, and he refuses to grant her release even though they have no relationship, no physical relationship, no emotional relationship, no marital relationship at all. He will not permit her to be released. So, Janelle and Meri are benefiting from the publicity that this is putting out into the world because, relates to, it'll make the leaders of the AUB, not initially, the establishment, look like they're controlling women. They are also awarding the releases because of Kody, whom they believe to be a failure. In this, they look upon him as an embarrassment, and they hate him even though they hate him even though, like Kody themselves, so he granted it that day. And I walked out of there single, and it was weird. Call, text, I dare you. I double dog dare you today. Text, and just be like, hey, I need to have a conversation with you. And you could even talk about ending my marriage. I'm actually gonna just do it right now. Do it. I I only need to do it. Meri finally gets her release on the same day. However, she asks for one, and once again, it's not typical. And then she's encouraging Janelle to contact the leaders to seek the release to end the marriage, to terminate it. And from the outside, looking in, it breaks my heart that a woman is so brainwashed by this group that I'm sure that it breaks your heart that the group brainwashing women and injuring women, and psychologically and spiritually, they abuse them into believing that they have the authority as mortal human beings to identify the person with whom the individual will be heaven, which in no way, shape, or form represents the Christian type of heaven that is supposed to work, and to avail themselves of the promise that lasts forever as a weapon and a means of holding the women inside unhappy relationship, because by last name, refusing this covenant that they are given, that they will not see members of their family who are in the celestial kingdom, right? So if they don't go to the celestial kingdom, and their other family, members to like Meri's mom or Janelle's mom, and the covenant that they're making and breaking here says that you will not go to the heavens above anymore, the kingdom, and you'll have no opportunity to see them unless they come down to see you in the tier below. And it's weaponizing spirituality against the women to stay on the promise that they will see your loved ones again. And that's abusive. So it just makes me sad that these women were hurt this way, not that they believe it. It saddens me that an entity existing which could hurt a female, influence them, control them, and psychologically and emotionally abuse them and spiritually abusing them. And so I'm sad that this is the reality, that because of those years of mental indoctrination and spiritual abuse, they feel like they must find a spiritual release for a relationship that was never legally valid or recognized. And no mortal man on this planet has the ability to control the eternity of anyone. It's very old-fashioned. Wait and see. Golly, Meri, this is so dumb. Like, I'm a businessman. This is not a big deal. Not a business like, according to such conversations like you, maybe because it's really, really personal. I think I can explain what I mean by that. Right. It is sent to Meri. It is sent. Well, just let me know how that goes, okay? I want to share it with me, please let me know. But when your meeting is up there, and you want me around, I'll be around. Isn't it interesting that seems to suggest that these years of Janelle and Meri appearing as though it had all of these problems with, because they were the first two wives, because Janelle was her former sister-in-law, because they were all, you see, friends, and then they became not friends once they were married. All the back, forth, all the allegations, and even after Kody apologizes to Janelle, even after that, right? She gets help from Meri for the release. Kody had virtually released him into the world, faulting Meri for all that was happening, mistaken about their relationship in the early years. Although we are aware this is not the case. For compelling, true, right? So we know Meri wasn't the reason why things were bad. Yes, they had to deal with each other. Yes, they were competing with each other. But Kody was created and fostered in them environment. And after all of these years of Janelle being publicly like, I have anything to do with Meri. I don't really care about Meri. And a lot of the things that she has said about Meri, it's Meri that she is going to more often than not seeking help. Christine has a new marriage. Who? Christine didn't get a spiritual release. Christine did not believe in the religion anymore. And so she doesn't go to Christine even. Although Christine would know, she would know where to go. I mean, your family is still part of the cult, right? So she would know whom to turn to. But she goes to Meri. Meri has had experience with process. Meri knows what the process entails. But for everything they say about Meri and how bad Meri is she a bad person if she's willing to offer help to someone to aid in leaving a cult? Leave the cult completely leaving the cult? Is she a horrible woman because she is trying to help them free themselves from the cult? No. She has been scapegoated and framed by Kody for all these years? Yes. Will someday these somehow realize that all of this has happened a result of Kody? I hope so. I hope they are capable of realizing the pain that they have caused one another was a result of what he was doing to them, and they can heal. And I'm glad to see both of them working together at least. And I'm glad to see Meri also offers her support. Okay, it's only nice to have some moral support. You know, it's so amusing that I feel so nervous about this. I think it's just because I really haven't spoken with in the church leadership for over a decade. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm what they think of me. I mean, no clue. Is it freaky that showing up to ask could be like, you're not a member of the church anymore. I don't know. It's a wild card, which always makes me nervous. So, after all, of these years of these feuds between Janelle and Meri, it is Janelle and Meri that team up once again to take on Kody, and Robyn falls. There's nothing that can ever make Robyn more popular and more angry than Kody receiving yet another. There's also a problem with releasing because Robyn is, woman that she lies on her piety. She uses it as a shield. She acts as if she has a very important appointment, and she's so godly. She's so above them. She's so eternal. And now the queen is totally torn down. She is no longer in the kingdom. This wrecks Robyn's kingdom as much as it destroys Kody's. And in their delusional world of the kingdom that they have, they are nothing. They only resemble Janelle. They are just like Meri. They are no better than anyone else. In fact, if they lack their faith, they are worse. They are failure. And it's Meri and Janelle who are teaming up with supermodel Genome. They work together about Coyote Pass. They collaborate here. And we all know that Kody is going to and then try to shift the blame for what it's like I always say. I don't even like people. I screw Meri out of money. And we all know that the unification that they have, Auerbach, Kody's going to try and drive a wedge, she said, turning, because they'll be, or in retaliation against Meri and Janelle for what they've done. And so he wants them to be divided and fighting again. So that's what's to come, is the retaliation of Kody, and whereas Robyn against Meri and Janelle, and that will be how the entire apology story blows up. So what are your thoughts? What's going on around this? Are you surprised to see them working together again? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Please make sure to thumbs up this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.